Thank you, Chair. Well, I'm going back to affordable housing. Our local plan is supposed to, our local plan is supposed to provide local housing to meet local need, and we need affordable housing. And so how are we ever going to get that when it seems no one is prepared to build them? It says that it's not viable with any more than the 15% we've been offered, but actually the profit margin of 15 to 20%, they're coming in at 16.97%, so almost 2% more than the bottom line. So actually there is some room for play just in that. But also I wonder whether the benchmark land value is correct, because I was reading about a case in Islington which they won on affordable housing because it said that the benchmark land value had failed to reflect the expectation of 30% affordable housing, and therefore sort of how can we be sure whether our viability assessment adequately reflects that in the figures quoted there? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Keen. Once again, Ms Livingstone.
Thank you, Chair. To come back on the benchmark land value point, so this is it's the very starting point of a viability assessment, because often what will happen is applicants will suggest the benchmark land value is higher because they've paid too much for the site, and therefore they would say the benchmark land value is much higher. For agricultural land, what's been looked at by the council's viability consultants as part of the local plan is looking at a specific rate of 100,000 per acre, and that is including what the government require, which is a premium on top of the actual value of the agricultural land of 11,000 per acre, and allows for the uplift and the expectation of housing, but also includes the obligations that are required as part of it. So that's why the figure of 4.7 million, which has been agreed by Dixon Cllr, has been settled on as appropriate. That is the stance that we have taken on other schemes. It reflects again the evidence of what's expected as part of the whole plan viability, which is obviously looking on a much more strategic basis, but that obviously has been tested in terms of whether or not the majority of developments can provide 30% affordable housing, and it's on the basis of that specific benchmark land value. The issue on this site is, as we outlined, those abnormal costs which come from the fact that there's a 25-metre land level difference on the site, with roads needing to join from Manston Road to Hartsdown Road, as well as the fact that this site is allocated for 550 houses, but it can't be proposed for 550 houses because of the very specific things that were found in when the detailed survey work, which always happens after a local plan is adopted, has shown where the archaeology specifically is, what's required in terms of surface water drainage, which has reduced the amount of capacity that this site can provide in terms of housing, and actually losing 100 houses off what the site was going to provide naturally has quite a significant impact on the viability of the site. So that is why the viability evidence that's been provided, which has been tested and we have gone back a number of times on it, we do consider the benchmark land value to be accurate, and we can agree it on that basis when looking at the viability assessment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ian.